They say America is filled with ghost towns, abandoned places where dreams collapsed, railroads died, and hope simply drifted away with the dust. Most of these towns still have ruins, photographs, or records to prove they existed. But there is one story, whispered in old letters and buried inside private family diaries, that stands apart from all the others. A story about a town that appeared only once for a single night and then vanished without leaving a trace on any map. A town called Greyhaven. The government never admitted it existed. Historians dismiss it as folklore, but one account, written in trembling ink by a traveling salesman in 1912, suggests that something extraordinary and terrifying did happen. His name was Elias Turner, and what he left behind has disturbed researchers for more than a century. According to Elias, it began on a summer evening in 1904. He was traveling by train across the Midwest, carrying a suitcase filled with tools and mechanical trinkets. He had no family, no destination, and no real reason to hurry. The life of a traveling salesman was predictable, lonely, and repetitive. Perfect for a man who didn't want to be remembered. Somewhere between Wichita and Salina, the train derailed after hitting debris on the tracks. No one was hurt, but the passengers were left stranded miles from the nearest station. Elias, impatient and stubborn, decided to walk along the dirt road toward whatever town he could find. The sun was already sinking, painting the sky orange and blood red. For hours he walked, accompanied only by the fading light and the buzz of insects. Then, in the distance, he noticed something impossible. Warm, glowing lights scattered across the darkness, like lanterns floating above the ground. As he approached, he realized they belonged to houses, dozens of them, forming a perfectly organized little town. A wooden sign greeted him. "Welcome to Greyhaven, population 1,216. Elias frowned. He had traveled these routes for years. He knew every settlement, every railway stop, every crossroad store. But he had never heard of Greyhaven. Still, the lights were inviting, and he was tired, hungry, and ready to collapse into any bed he could afford. But the moment he stepped onto Main Street, he felt it, a sensation he couldn't describe. The air was too still, the lamps too bright, the houses too perfect. Every window glowed with the same warm golden color, as if someone had synchronized the town deliberately. Then came the strangest detail of all. Every person he passed greeted him by name. "Good evening, Mr. Turner," said a woman sweeping her porch. "Long journey, Elias?" asked a man locking up his shop. "We've been expecting you," whispered a young boy sitting on a stoop. Elias froze. He had never seen any of these people in his life. Their smiles were gentle, their eyes strangely calm. No one offered an explanation. No one seemed surprised by his confusion. Instead, they acted as if he belonged there, as if he had always belonged. Before he could question anyone further, a middle-aged shopkeeper stepped out and said, "The inn has your room ready, third door on the left." Elias, overwhelmed and exhausted, allowed himself to be led through the quiet streets to a small, old-fashioned boarding house. Inside, the innkeeper, an elderly woman with silver hair, handed him a brass key before he even opened his mouth. "Room 3, she said warmly, just as always. Elias climbed the stairs, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. The room was immaculate, lit by a single oil lamp. A soft bed waited for him, freshly made. It felt normal enough, until he noticed the object sitting on the nightstand. A notebook, worn, brown, with his name carved into the cover. He opened it with trembling fingers. Inside were page after page, detailing his life, not just the past he remembered, but events he had never told anyone. Private memories, childhood secrets, and worse, predictions, detailed descriptions of things that hadn't happened yet. The final page chilled his blood. Elias Turner. Last visit, tomorrow morning. He shut the notebook instantly and stumbled back against the wall. Nothing made sense. Greyhaven wasn't just strange. It felt staged, constructed, designed. He walked outside to clear his mind. The air was unnaturally quiet. Not a dog barked, not a cricket chirped. The moon hung above the town like an unblinking eye. On a bench by the general store sat a man in overalls, fixing a pocket watch under the dim streetlight. He didn't greet Elias, didn't smile, didn't act like the others. "You shouldn't be here," the man said softly, never lifting his gaze from the gears in his hands. Elias hesitated. Where exactly am I? The man exhaled slowly. Greyhaven isn't a real place. Not like the towns you know. It shows up when it wants to. One night, only one, and when the sun rises, it disappears. Elias laughed nervously. Disappears? You mean people move away? The man shook his head. No, I mean everything vanishes. Every building, every lantern, every smiling face. And anyone still inside it when dawn breaks goes with it. Elias swallowed hard. Then why are you here? He whispered. The man looked up for the first time. His eyes were tired, haunted. I stayed to see what would happen, he said. That was 9 years ago. Elias stepped back. I can't leave, the man added. But you can. He closed the watch and pressed it into Elias's hand. When the hand stopped moving, run. Do not look back. Elias hurried back to the inn, clutching the watch like a lifeline. He locked the door and sat on the bed until midnight. At exactly 12 o'clock, the lamps in the entire town extinguished at once. A suffocating darkness swallowed Greyhaven. The streets fell silent. The houses lost their warmth, and the people. Elias could hear them shifting outside. Not walking, not talking, just shifting, like puppets waiting for a command. At 3 o'clock a.m., footsteps circled his room, slow, deliberate, scraping, as if someone was dragging something, or someone, across the floorboards outside. Elias stared at the pocket watch, praying for it to remain ticking. At 4:32 a.m., the second hand froze. He ran, he sprinted down Main Street, past rows of motionless townspeople who stood watching him with blank expressions. Dozens of them, hundreds, their heads turned in perfect unison as he passed. Not one chased him, not one spoke, not one blinked. But the moment he crossed the town's wooden boundary sign, he heard it, a thunderous wave of footsteps rushing behind him. He didn't turn, he didn't dare. The horizon brightened with the first traces of dawn, and then, complete silence. He looked over his shoulder. Greyhaven was gone. The fields were empty. The sign was missing. The roads had erased themselves. Nothing remained. Years later, Elias sent his handwritten testimony to federal officials. He never received a response. He died shortly afterward in a rented room with hardly any belongings, except for the pocket watch the stranger had given him. The watch was found ticking again. Its hands pointed to a new date, a new sunrise, and possibly the next time Greyhaven would return. No one knows where the watch is now, or whether someone, somewhere in the quiet emptiness of rural America, will someday see warm lights flickering in the night and step toward a town they should never enter. A town that greets you by name, a town that exists only once, a town that waits for those who wander too far from the path, a town called Greyhaven.